Hi, welcome to the PassioKnit Spinner Podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. I do have a Ravelry group, but we don't use it really. There's a Discord server, and I do have a Patreon, and all of the links for everything will be in the description box. So you cannot see the chaos around me. But I gathered all of the WIPs and UFOs. And I thought it's time to do another WIP shaming episode. So I prepared some things. The last video that I did that I called WIP shaming, I recorded on December 30th, 2015. So 6 years and 13 days ago. And I can tell you, I have not changed a lot. Or not for the better, because I'm pretty sure that I have a lot more things on the needles now than I had then. I did watch that last video that I made and recorded a reaction video to go with it, and that is up on my Patreon if you're interested in seeing it. So let's just get started, because this is going to be a very long video. And if you're here for the very first time, this is not how things usually are here, but let's just start. So I decided for fun to get the oldest and newest WIPs I have on my needles and show you those first. So the oldest WIP. And also, I'm very happy to say the only thing that I still have on the needles from the last video is in this bag. So this is the Hip in Hemp skirt. The pattern is by Gudrun Johnston, and it was released in Knitty years and years ago. And I cast this on 14th of July in 2009. 2009. And it is a skirt, and I'm knitting it on 3.75 needles, I think, out of a cotton. And I also think it did not grow a lot since my last video, but I still really want to finish it. I'm not sure if I will ever fit in it, but I don't know what else to do with the yarn. I think it's going to be really pretty, so I am on a mission to finish this before the 13-year cast-on anniversary rolls around in July. So that's the plan. This is the oldest WIP. This lives in a Knitting's My Bag. And yeah, so that is that. Now, the newest thing I have on the needles is in a bag I bought years ago. It's just a tote bag, nothing special, tote bag. And it is the Skipness cardigan by Martin Story. And I cast this on New Year's... Christmas Eve last year, and it looks like this. It is a cabled cardigan, and yesterday evening I started the armhole shaping. This is the back. The pattern is free on the Rowan website and on Ravelry. So it's just beautiful cardigan with cables, very easy cables, and I'm holding a sock yarn and a mohair double. So I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about every project. I just wanted to show off the things, and not go into very much detail. So the oldest and the newest. Now let's close this up. Done. I also have a spreadsheet prepared where I can just, tick the things. So that was what? A sweater and a skirt. Okay. Now, I have a tower of blanket projects here, and everything else just scattered around me. So I'm just going to grab the next thing. So the next thing here is in a bag from a maker I do not longer want to support, so I'm not going to show you. But it here is the pullover that I am calling my Autumn Skies pullover. And I'm at this point now, I'm on the third pattern repeat for the body. So I basically have one of these leaf, feather, whatever motifs to go, and the bottom ribbing and the sleeves. And I really do want to finish it because I think it is very pretty. And the pattern, I pulled out the needle. Yeah, I have to repair this because this is color work, and if those stitches start really ripping, I'm in trouble. So let's just not do that. Okay. Now that's better. Stitches all saved. So yeah, Autumn Skies pullover. It is a pattern that I bought when it came out and started also when it came out years ago. So I think this might be my second oldest WIP at this point. But I really want to finish it because I think it's very pretty and it's going to be really nice and warm. And that's that about that pullover. Now you go away. Ugh. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of trying to find stuff. So I'm just going to work through this mountain over here. Now, this bag I made from a mini skirt that I wore a long time ago. And it holds the Fin West. It's a pattern by Marie Wallen. It is also a free pattern on the Rowan website. And mine looks like this. I converted it to be knit in the round instead of flat. And it is a nice color work, again, color work, vest that I am knitting out of Rowan Fine Tweed yarn. And now, what was that? 2 sweaters. I need to not forget to do the checks. So yeah, more color work. And I do have a lot of yarn in here because I had bigger packets. So this is a gigantic project bag for a relatively small project. Then the next thing here is corresponding with one of those boxes here. So I'm not gonna do that now. I'm gonna do that later. Okay, next up, in this project bag that I made myself, I have a skirt, the second and, last skirt on my needles. This is the Chaunty Skirt by Ririko. I was right about. I had it in my head, but didn't want to say something wrong. So this is the Chaunty Skirt, and I have been working on this again over the last few weeks and added probably 3 centimeters to it so far. So really excited to finish that one actually. So I'm always working on that when I need a simple project, because it's basically stocking it in round. So that's that skirt. Do a check. Okay. The next thing is in this project bag that my friend made for me. And it is a sweater that is called Tabular. It was in a pom-pom magazine. And I have finished the front. I'm going to show it to you and you probably say, it's that one. So this is the Tabular sweater. And I have finished the front. I am now working on the back. It is a pieced seamed sweater. The main yarn that I have is a 100% alpaca light fingering weight yarn that I got from Drachenwolle, and everything else is my hand spun. So that is the Tabular, and I'm on the back for that one. And that will be my next easy knitting when the skirt is done. So I really want to finish that because I think it's going to be really pretty and it is very much my colors, so I just really want to finish that. In the next project back here is my Reindeer Cardigan. So this bag is from Mad Bird, and yeah, it holds the Reindeer Cardigan. It is a pattern by Martin Story. It is free on the Rowan website. Sensing a trend here, but I think it's the last one. So, and I'm using 3 different yarns for this. The light color is actually 2 different colors and 2 completely different yarns. One of them is it's Hedgehog Fibers. The other one is Madeline Tosh, and the main yarn is Schoppelwolle, Alblino, my favorite yarn. And this is it. And it's my my pride and joy, because I think this snowflake pattern up here is just so gorgeous. So that is the Reindeer Cardigan. Have I done a check mark for the tabular? Probably not. Have I? I have not. Okay, so let's do that now and add the Reindeer Cardigan. Okay. In here, I have started a sweater from a Rebecca magazine, and it is this sweater here. It's basically a cropped, oversized hoodie that is knit completely in brioche, and I finished one part. I think I finished the front, and I'm now knitting the back, and I am holding 3 different yarns together for that, and these are the yarns and some fuzz in there. So this is from Hamburger Wollfabrik. This is a Rowan recycled denim, I think it's called, and whatever that is. Do I have a label in here? I do not. That label does not go with anything in here. So yeah, that's just, I can't tell you more. It's from a German knitting magazine, or it's a Swiss knitting magazine, I think, actually. And I haven't worked on this in a long time, but I really like it. So this will go to the front of my want to finish next. Another sweater. Okay. Now, in here, I have 3 different projects. It's just a felt basket. The first thing in here is the first pair of socks I have to show you in this project bag that I made. And it is the socks that I am knitting with 2 of my friends. It's Opal sock yarn from one of their most recent collections. And it's just, you know, normal socks. They're a super easy project. And here's socks. Okay, so that's that. And the other 2 are a bit smaller. So, ta-ta! I have 2 collars, or a finished collar and a started collar. So both of these are sweaters in the progress, or you know, in theory. These were started 2020, between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And I started 3 of those. So I used the flex light pattern for all 3 of them. Let's do the 2 check marks first. So this one here is for me, and I'm knitting that out of Hobby yarn in their Christmas colorways. And I have 6 skeins of this that I bought specifically for this project. And this will be a dress, like the one I'm wearing. That is the Laneway Dress. And I did start using the flex light pattern and then thought I will just, you know, do a normal dress without the slant. But I think I changed my mind on that. So I'm going to switch over to the Laneway pattern for this one. And the other one is not very far yet. And this is going to be a flex light for my husband. And I think I have 7 skeins of this yarn. It's Shoppelalp Lino again. And yeah, I've just started the collar, and that's about it. The third one that I had started on the same day, I started all 3 of those flex light sweaters on the same day. And the third one was for Tim, and I finished that as my first sweater last year. So you've seen that before. But yeah, in this basket live those 2 sweaters. There's a lot more to go. In the next basket, or not basket, it's a project bag. And it's a bag from Britex Fabrics. That's a store in San Francisco. And my husband bought it for me. So it's only fitting that in here I have a project that is going to be for him. And that is a gigantic towel. And it looks like that. So I am using the Baker's Twine potholder pattern from Ducati. She's a German designer, but I think her patterns do come in English. And I am using that just with more stitches. And I'm doing a towel for my husband. And I have not worked on this in forever. So the yarn that I'm using is, I think, called Samba. It is It's this yarn here. It's an unmercerized cotton. So you could use peaches and cream or sugar and cream and lots of other yarns. But this is one that I can buy locally, and it's an unmercerized DK to worsted weight cotton. And I am knitting a super fun and stripy towel for my husband out of it. Just because, you know, wanted to make something a bit different. And I think a towel is a bit different. That goes into the other category. The next thing is in a box. This never had a project bag, and it is the Marled Magic Sweater by Stephen West. This is quite big, so let's see. Let's try and find the front of this. Here it is. So this is gigantic already. So this is the Marled Magic Sweater by Stephen West. This is the V-neck portion. So, you know, this is big, very big. And I am knitting this with a strand of either naturally white alpaca silk, no, drops alpaca, just a normal one, or a naturally white mohair from Lana Grossa. And everything else is sock yarn scraps. And I really love this project. I love how it looks, and you know, I really enjoy working on it. I just haven't done that in forever, but it's another one that I really want to finish soon. So yeah, Marled Magic Sweater, Stephen West, a gorgeous, gorgeous project. So that's another sweater. Okay, this side is getting smaller here. Next up is another Stephen West pattern in this project basket. And it is the Shallography Shawl. That was the last mystery shawl project that was released last year, October, November. And I'm using 5 different yarns that I'm not going to talk about and show you because it's going to take forever. But I'm here. I'm still on clue 2, I think. Nah, let's show it like this. So this is what it looks like so far, and I am on those short rows right now. I do want to finish it. I think it's a beautiful shawl. I just lost steam on it, which is I forgot one project. I'm gonna have to get that. There's a common theme, as you will find out, because it's not the first or last. It's the first mystery shawl, but not the last mystery shawl that I have still on my needles. So that is the Shallography Shawl, a shawl, and it's in this basket. Next up, what is this? Oh, that's not a project. Okay. Next up in here, I think that's the last project on this side. In here, I have the ScarJo jumper, which is not called ScarJo jumper at all. It is called, I think, Rainbow Jumper. I'm not quite sure. It's a vintage pattern, and I bought the vintage pattern on Etsy. But I'm calling it the ScarJo jumper. Oh, there's a lot. What is this? This is the ScarJo jumper because it's a sweater that Scarlett Johansson wore in the movie Jojo Rabbit. And it is a authentic pattern from the 40s. And I have converted it to be knit in the round, and I also made it bigger because the original pattern is for a size 34 and I'm not a size 34. So I just went with my usual stitch count for fingering weight sweaters. And this is what this looks like. I'm at the point where I have to do armhole shaping, and I was not yet in the mood to think about that because as I change the stitch count, I have to, you know, basically redo the whole shaping stuff. And yeah, I didn't want to do that. So this is 4-5 colors of yarn. I'm not sure, but it's really pretty. It is a lot of fun to work on. And as soon as my brain will work, I'm going to start the armhole shaping. And then I have to decide if I want to do a long sleeve version or like a short sleeve, but the short sleeve goes to the elbow. Or do it 3/4 length. I do have enough yarn for a long sleeve, but I'm not sure if I want that with the yarn. On the other hand, probably going to be really warm. So yeah, it also lives in a basket thing that I, with beautiful little carabiner things, attached a green strap handle so it's easier to carry around. And that's the last started project on this side, apart from this basket. Let's go to the basket first. So in the basket, I have another Stephen West pattern, and I have the chick shawl puzzle. And my plan for that is to make a blanket. So the chick shawl is basically a triangle, and my idea was to knit 2 triangles and seam them down the middle. And this is how far I've gotten. I started this as a blanket for this room here. So in here, I have all the yarns in these colors, and I have this chair and a couch in this dusty pink velvety fabric. So I thought that a blanket in these colors would look really nice in here. And I still want to do that. You know, that's still the plan. I just have to focus on it sometime. But as you will find out, I have a lot of things I should focus on. And this is just in a normal basket. So I'm going to put the basket back, and then we can switch over to this side. I'm going to go through the other blankets at the end. So you come here, so I'm not going to forget about you. And okay, now let's go. The one thing behind me is the only thing that has never had a project bag or a basket or anything to live in. And that is the Trachea hat by Michelle Wong. And it's a cabled hat that I started quite a while ago. And I really want to finish that because first of all, I'm absolutely in the mood for cables. And second, this is a hat. So if I focus on this for a day, it will be finished. So that's the plan for this one. And the yarn I'm using for that. The yarn I'm using for that is a Cakewalk Yarns yarn that I got a very long time ago. Okay, now let's redirect. Oh no! When did I stop doing? I didn't do the ScarJo jumper. Did I do the Marled Magic sweater? I think I did. Okay. I have to recount everything in the end, I think. But I'm pretty sure I showed oh yeah, let's just continue on. In this project bag that I made for myself and 3 of my friends, when we went to EYF in 2018, I made one in for everybody, but used different colors for the straps and the lining. Or no, just the straps, I think. The lining is the same for all. But it's not important. The important part is a started sweater. And it's gotten very far. Again, this is the Separate Ways sweater by Joji Locatelli. I'm not sure if I have a picture of it, but it is from, I don't have a picture. It's from a interpretations booklet. I'm not sure which one, but I am sure that you can buy the pattern separate by now. And I've gotten this far. And this is one of the reasons why. I cut the yarn after every stripe, as Joji suggests, and I had not yet learned how to, you know, weave them in as I go, the weave and Steven technique that Stephen West does, and now I have learned that, so I can get back to the sweater, which is very springy colors, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be a good color for me, but I really love them together. They are all on a glitter base, you know. I just adore these colors together. And yeah, that's the Separate Ways sweater. Not sure what else to say about it, but that is how far I've gotten. And that's that. In the next bag that I'm not going to talk about, I have another sweater where I got really far on. And for that one, at least I have a sweater pattern. This is the Rusty Tuku by Susanne Sommer. And I am knitting this out of BC Yarn, Tussa Tweed, which is 100% Tussa silk yarn that I got on a D-stash from a friend. And I got one skein in a darker green and lots of skeins in a light green. So that's what I'm using. I'm using, what is this? Can you see this mess? That's what happens when you do not touch your knitting for a very long time. Oh, separate ways and Rusty Tuku. Wonderful. So this is how far I got on that one. I'm pretty sure I had a cast on day or two, and I cast on that separate ways, the Rusty Tuku, and the next sweater I'm going to show to you. And they all got very far. And then I never touched them again. So yeah, this is the Rusty Tuku. I really want to finish that because the colors are wonderful and it's pure silk. So it's going to be a perfect sweater for summer. And who doesn't want that, right? I mean, I have enough warm sweaters for not summer. So that's that. You go away over here. Now, as promised, the next sweater is in another bag that I made myself for yet another EYF. And that was for 2019. And it has a lot of fuzz on it. So I wove the fabric for this on this side and did the same embroidery that I did here, but in totally different colors to match the theme. And I made two of these, one for my friend and one for myself. And in here lives the All of the Lights cardigan by Joji Locatelli. And I cast this on the same day as Rusty Tuku and the Separate Ways. So as you can imagine, it also got very far. And this is also one that I really, really want to finish because it's cables. I'm in a cable mood. It's red. It's just a gorgeous color. I'm using Tosh Vintage in the tart colorway for that one. And the yarn was a gift from my husband. He bought it, I'm pretty sure, at Imagine It in San Francisco. So this is the All of the Lights cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Yeah, really should get back to that one. I mean, I should get back to all of these eventually, and I will eventually. The thing is, I realize now, over the last 2 years, I became kind of a monogamous knitter. So I used to be a just, not monogamous knitter. And now I kind of am. I do have 2 or 3 things on the go, which is not completely monogamous. I know that. But I usually have one where I have to think about, one super simple one where I don't have to think about, and something small that I can carry with me. And I just have to, finish stuff and then pick these up. Okay, next up in here, this is a bag from Frogged Designs. I love it. It's a Christmas Charlie brown bag. And I have needles and I have a knitting project that's not on the needles. So I have to change that. And this is a scarf / cowl. I'm not yet sure if I want to seam it up. Did I do a provisional cast on? I did not. That is good. So it's a cowl / scarf. I'm not sure yet. That I'm knitting out of Knit Picks Felici, which is the softest sock yarn on the planet. I don't know how they do it, but it is. And I'm using 2 different colors, and I had 2 skeins of each. And the colorways are Aquarium and Maple Leaves. And I mean, very, very me colors. So I knit up 1 skein of each of them. And I think the pattern is basically the One Rose Scarf by Jared Flood. Is that what it's called? Doesn't matter. You use 2 different yarns. You knit 1 by 1 rib and alternate every other row. So, and this is what my scarf looks like so far. So the thought is, if I do it as a cowl, I don't have to do a lot more because this could wrap around almost twice. Can it? It could. So just a tiny bit more. And that will leave me with the remainder of the yarn to do sneaker socks for myself, which I would love because Felici is a gorgeous yarn. So I'm just not sure if I should just call it a day or not, because, you know, for an actual scarf, it's a bit short. I just don't know. That's why this is still on a needle or a stitch holder, because I did need the needles for something else. But yeah, so that is that pattern project. It's a scarf / cowl. So I'm going to do a check mark on cowl, I think. Do I have cowl? I don't have cowl. So it is other. So that one. Okay, we're getting there. Next up, in this felt basket thing that a friend of mine made for me, I've got another Stephen West mystery shawl. I don't even remember what it was called. What are you called? It's the Starflake from 2019. I am knitting that on from two different cones, and they both are very luxurious cashmere silk merino blends from Hamburger Wollfabrik. And I really love the colors, and I like the scarf or shawl, or, you know, where's the needle? Here. But I just stopped working on it again after Clue 2. So I started the brioche section, which is the next part, and I just stopped. I'm not sure why, but I did, and I love it. So I will finish it at some point. I like the colors a lot, but yeah, that's how far I've gotten before I decided to not do it anymore, which usually happens around Clue 2. I finish Clue 1, finish Clue 2, and then I just stop. And I did for this one as well as another one that I still have to retrieve from over there. So that was a shawl. Okay. Next, in this project bag that a friend of mine made for me, I have another shawl, and I don't have the pattern in here, but it is called Evolve, I think. It is another pattern from a Joe Locatelli, and it's from an interpretations book, and it is a 3-color gradient kind of shawl, or faded progression, whatever you want to call it. And I'm using sock blanks for this, and my sock blanks are all from Stranded Dye Works, and that is my color progression. So this is the one I'm using right now. So this is my fade in a way, and I'm going to show you the shawl in a second. I just have to put the yarn back in here first, and you can go back as well. So that's it. That is what the shawl looks like so far. Again, I've gotten very far before I lost interest, and it has a nice and easy stitch pattern to a very long cable. I think I put it in with things to come in mind. And yeah, so that is the Evolve shawl by Joe Locatelli, knit out of sock blanks from Stranded Dye Works. In this project bag from a friend of mine. Okay, next, in this tote-ish whatever bag, I have the Find Your Fate shawl. And I started that back in the Find Your Fate craze, where everybody started that. Wait, I have to do the shawl tick. I can do another one because there's another shawl. So the Find Your Fate is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I'm pretty sure that everybody knows what I'm talking about here, but I'm gonna try and find a picture anyways. So this is it. This is the front page pattern. What front page of the pattern? I'm knitting mine. What's that? That fell in there. Okay, I'm knitting mine out of Socks That Rock Lightweight in 7 different colors, because that's kind of the thing with the Find Your Fate. And where's my needle? Needle's here. Okay, where's the front? This is how far I've gotten on that one. I got quite far. I think I'm in color 4. So I started out with this color here, which is one of my favorites, Scottish Highlands, I think. And then we fade into these colors. And this is where I stopped working on it. And I do not know why, because a shawl out of Sock Stitch Rock Lightweight sounds like the best thing ever. So I should get back to it. Maybe I'm already in color 5. I don't know. But this is where I am with this shawl. And I really want to finish it, because I think it's going to be super pretty. And yeah, I am in color 4. Color 4. Out of 7. So that's in here. Okay. I have one more up here in this Donald Duck bag that also my husband brought me back from America. I have another Andrea Mowry pattern, and it is the Rose Cardigan. And somewhere here, this is the pattern. This is what it looks like. Mine will look different because I have a different gauge, and mine will be a bit smaller. So, is this the finished piece? It is. This is the finished piece. This is my gradient. I am using a mix of Sock Stitch Rock Lightweight and Colin Chitterbug. And this is the first finished piece, and I am working on a second piece. And mine will be a bit more cropped than hers. So this is what that looks like. And the second piece, I am that far on. So that's it. Rose Cardigan. And we're not yet done. Let's do another sweater tick. So that holds the yarn and other things for that brioche hoodie and another project that I have not yet started. So that is that. Okay, let's go to socks. I am not going to show you the yarns. I'm just going to show you the single socks. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 single socks, so I'm going to do my 6 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all still from when I cast on all of the socks last year. So I have that one. Mystery yarn, no idea what the yarn is. They're all finished the first one, have not started the second. So then this one is out of my own hand spun. It's probably going to be the next one for me to finish because these are for me. Then I have that one. And this is, I think, Eden Yarns, self-striping. Then we have Opal sock yarn. It's going to be for sale. Most of these are. This is yarn from Vicky Vera, which I have no clue. She still dyes. I just have this one skein, but I love it. And the contrast for this sock is the main yarn for that sock because I just felt like it. I thought that that would look really cute, and I think I was right. So that's that one also for myself. And then another Opal sock yarn. And these are my socks. They're all singles so far, and they will get done sometime this year. You know, whenever I need a small portable project, I will cast on one of those. Okay, we're not yet done. Next up, I have a sweater called Ember. I'm pretty sure. Where is the picture? So let me find a picture to show to you. Yes, here. This is the Ember sweater. It looks like this. It is a mix of cables and colorwork. The pattern is by Yuko Shimizu. And the colors that I chose are very much me. I have 2 skeins of, what are you? Yarn Candy, 1 skein Vivid Wool that was a gift from my friend, and 1 skein of a German dyer called Meereswolle. And it is green, orange, and brown. And I'm not very far with it, of course not, but it basically started out looking like that. So it's going to be very pretty and, you know, very much my colors. So far I have not found a project I want to rip out, which is good and bad at the same time. The good is because I'm choosing things that I actually want to have to knit. But the bad thing is I have a million things on my needles. So, oh, I probably should put the pattern back right. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit hard to work on it. So, okay, back. In here, I have a project that I cannot show you. I am working on a secret test knit for a friend. Let me hold this. So, the project bag that I'm using here is not a project bag per se. It's actually a bag that I got in an Illumicrate box, which is a book subscription box. And it's supposed to be like a TBR box, and TBR stands for to be read. And the idea behind this is that you will put this on your nightstand or your coffee table, and you put the next books you want to read in here. Which, of course, I'm a knitter. This is a project bag. In here, I'm doing a secret test knit for my friend that I cannot show you. All I can tell you is that it is color work and that I am using these 2 colors. That's it. Project in here, secret. That I have to put into other. Okay. We are not done. Okay, let's open this project bag. Now I have a gigantic IKEA bag that we're gonna go through next. And not every project bag that is in there holds an actual started project. Some of these are just things I want to get to. That one is one of them. This one definitely holds a project. And it is the second Laneway dress. So this is the Laneway dress. It's a pattern by Vera Välimäki. It is from an interpretations book, and I do not know which one. But that is the second version. I have fuzz on my mouth. So this is version number 2. It's going to be another fade, like this one. And I have 5 different skeins in these reddy, rusty colors. And the thing is, I am doing this dress like I did this first one. So I did the yoke, did separate the yoke, knit a few rounds or a few centimeters down. And then I knit my sleeves first, because that way I could use up every yarn that I had left for this length of this the dress. So that is what I'm doing here. And I have started the first sleeve. So this is 5 different skeins of yarn. And I now have fuzz everywhere. Where does it come from? So yeah, Laneway Dress by Vera Välimäki. The second one on the needles and my third in total. And a beautiful project to work on and a beautiful thing to have in the end. This is not started, I think. Nope, not started. But a pretty bag from Piddaloop. This one here is a project bag that I made last year. And it's not started. Good. There will be started things in here, so we have to go through all the bags. Okay, next up, we have another shawl. Are you sensing a theme here? I start shawls and then I never finish them. So that shawl here doesn't even have a pattern with it. That's great. So this is called Linientreu. It's a pattern by Ute Navratil. She's a German designer. And it looks like this. So the colorful yarn is Schoppelwolle. It's a Zauberball. And the natural white is also Shoppelwolle. And this is how far I've gotten. And next up is another round or another gigantic row of these triangles. So yeah, Linientreu Shawl started a long time ago. Haven't worked on it in a very long time as well. So, but I love the finished object, so I'm going to keep it. You know, I'm going to keep working on it. And now, before I completely work myself into this space, I have to get up and get one project. It's right over there, so you're gonna see nothing for a bit, but I have to get it because it just really, really, really fits the theme. And it's another Stephen West shawl. This time it's the mystery shawl from 2020. I think it's called Slipstravaganza. I'm not sure. Is it called Slipstravaganza? Where is the beginning? Yes, it is called Slipstravaganza. And I think I made it to clue 3 this time. So that is what this shawl looks like. I've gotten quite far on it. Nothing is attached to it, which is also interesting. So this is how far I got. You know, I got quite far. But it's not close to being done yet. So I think I stopped. Oh, there is something attached. It's here. I think I stopped because the next instruction says something like, now double all of your stitches. And as I already have about 1 million of them on the needles, I didn't want to do that. So I just put it away. And it is living in a Vera Bradley bag that I used to carry to school with me, holding miscellaneous things. So that's the last Stephen West shawl on the needles, I think. That is not started. That is good. In here, that is started, I'm pretty sure. Yes. So in here, this project bag here, I also made to use up my, trial embroideries for the EYF bags that I made. So I made this one for myself. And in here, I have a self-designed shawl. I started that. I went to the Swiss Yarn Festival last year in 2020. Last year? That wasn't last year, was it? It was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, I went to the Swiss Yarn Festival and I took a class with my friend Julie, and it was about shawls and shawl design. And I started this shawl, my own design. I'm not sure if I will ever finish this and if I will ever write down what I'm doing, for you all to do. But yeah, I'm using yarns from Stash, and that's, yeah, it's my self-drafted shawl design. Not sure. I'm not sure about that one. So, shawls. I'm gonna have to quickly check, but in here I think I only have a planned project. Nothing started. Yeah, no needles attached. Wonderful. Let's keep going. Is in here a plan. I have 2 more project bags to go through that are in there. Okay, in here is something that is started. Oh, I'm not sure if we can actually call that started, but it is started. And this is the Bowen, I think it's called. Bolen. The pattern is by Layla Raab. Sorry. And it looks like this. It is a t-shirt, top, whatever. And I just lost my project. It fell to the floor. Also, my project bag could be a bit bigger. I cast on in the first row. And I'm knitting that out of 100% silk yarn that I got from my friend. Yeah, I started I cast it on and literally put it away. It might have been on the same day where I started the other things that are all really big. You were in here. Go back in there. You have to fit. Okay. Okay, now that is in a Wildwood Studio bag that I adore. It looks so pretty. It is Harris tweed and this beautiful Highland cow fabric. And one more, I think in here is a plan. Yes, it's a plan. Okay, that leaves me with the only crochet project and a lot of blankets. So let's get rid of the IKEA box or IKEA bag and go to here. So in my crochet basket, I have my next crochet basket, and it's, you know, it's a gigantic thing and I'm not sure how to show you, but it's another project, crochet basket, scrap basket. And I'm making a big bag for groceries for my car, and it is in the first one that I made. And I really enjoy working on that, but I needed to take a break because I think I'm using an 8mm crochet hook and it's really hard on my hands. So took a break from that. Now, blankets galore. Okay, I'm going to start with what's on top of it, and that is, I have all of my blankets except for that one, this one here, in boxes like these. I bought them specifically to house my blanket projects. So this one here holds blue sock yarn leftovers in mini skeins, and it is for my son's blanket. And I was really motivated last year and wanted to finish it for his first day of school. And of course I didn't. But I did knit a lot on it. And it's a mitered square blanket. And it looks like this. I think I might have reached the width, but probably not, because I want him to be able to use this blanket for a long time. And it looks like that. So this is for Tim. I'm using only blue, or, you know, mainly blue yarns for that. And doing those mitered squares with 60 stitches. So that's the first one. Now, next up is another one for Tim, this time out of handspun. And this, of course, is at the bottom, which is wonderful. So in here I have all of handspun leftovers that I have. And at the bottom, I have a blanket. Trying to get it out without losing everything else. So, and it is this is very heavy. It's a crochet blanket. I don't only have one crochet project. I have 3 because I have the basket and 2 blankets. So this is it. Now, where do you come from? Okay, that's it. It's a granny stripe blanket made with handspun. It's going to be very heavy. I'm pretty sure. It's, you know, I don't know if I should continue with that to make it a lot bigger, because it already is so heavy. I'm not sure if it's going to be nice to be using, you know? It's almost like a therapy blanket, one of the weighted ones. Okay, it's back in. So, blanket number 2. Then we have blanket number 3, also in its own box. And this is my mitered square blanket. And I'm using all kinds of sock yarn leftovers. Every color, doesn't matter. But for mine, I have the rule that every yarn can only appear once. So for Tim's blanket, I don't care. But for mine, I want every yarn in there only one single time. And I have needles attached to it, because I am working on a blanket square right now. And I am knitting these on short straight needles. So, and this is what mine looks like. It's this big, which is quite nice and quite big actually. So how I started mine is I started with 4 squares in the middle, and that's these 4 here. And since then, I just, you know, knit around, basically. That is why all of these squares go in different directions. And for Tim's, they all go in the same direction. So yeah, this is mine. I think it's going to be super pretty. And I have a selection of yarn ready to go. But like I said, every yarn can only appear once. And also, for my blanket, I'm doing 50 stitches. So the squares are a bit smaller than the other ones. So that is that. Then in here, next box, we have another blanket that's gone really far. I cast on, and it looks like this. I have these skeins of opal sock yarn. They're all in this orangey reddy color scheme. So I decided to knit a blanket out of them. And the way I'm doing it is I cast on quite a bit of stitches. Whoops. No idea how many, but it's a lot, you know? It's on a 100 centimeter needle, or 120 even, and it's very bunched up. And I'm just going to knit garter stitch. And when I finish the first skein, I'm going to attach the second. I'm not even going to do fading, I think. I'm just gonna knit the whole skein, knit the next skein, and that's it. And I'm not sure when I will work on this again, but I enjoy the idea, and I think it's going to be really nice. So that is that blanket. I didn't do a single thing for blankets, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 so far. Okay, then this one with a green lid, because I could not get the other boxes, which, yes, it really bugs me. In here, I have the corresponding thing for this project bag. And that is a blanket that I'm knitting for my husband. And this is the one you've seen recently, because this is the Habitation Throw pattern by Helen Stewart. And I have been working on that and showing that on the podcast over the last few times. And I'm basically knitting squares that are this big. And I am going to seam those together to a large blanket, or for a large blanket. And I'm using 6-ply sock yarn, which is a German thing. I don't think it has ever been a thing anywhere else. So I now have 4 of them finished. And this is my yarn that I'm using. Like I said, 4 of them are finished now, and I'm working on a 5th, and that's that. So I will make however many squares I can get out of the yarn that I have, which is, you know, probably going to be somewhere between 12 and 16 squares. And then I'm going to use this single solid gray to attach all of them together. And I'm not sure yet how to do that, but I mean, I will find a way. I'm thinking about crocheting them together, but yeah, I don't know yet. I still have time. I mean, I have what, 4 squares finished. It's gonna be a lot more work before I can think about that. And my squares are in theory the same size, but practically they're not, because when I started knitting the blanket, I went for a size that I thought, yeah, I like that size. And then realized that my finished blanket square, the finished square, weighed more than half of the complete skein of yarn. So I changed it, made it a bit smaller so I could get 2 squares out of 1 skein of yarn. And that is where I'm at with that blanket. And it needs a lot of room. Okay, so that's this blanket. And then we have one more. And that is my crochet blanket. It's a granny stripe blanket, and I am making that with mini skeins that I got either in swaps with others or that I bought over the years. And the only not mini skein I have in here is this. Not sure why. It doesn't matter though. And I am basically using up every mini skein that I start. And somewhere in here is my needle. Down here. Okay, so this is how far I've gotten on that one. It's not very big yet. You know, I have a way to go on that. But I have all of the yarn in this box. That's the mini skeins from, like I said, swaps and things that I bought. And I can just work on it whenever I want. And when I run out of mini skeins before I think the blanket is done, I can just use sock yarn scraps instead, you know, and make it bigger. So that's that blanket. And that, my friends, was the last of my works in progress. So let's get the list and do a bit of counting, shall we? That is, in total, I have 15 sweaters. I have 7 pairs of socks, 7 blankets, 7 shawls, 2 skirts, 1 hat, and 3 things that I put in the other category. That is a total of, okay, math on camera. So it's a total of 42 projects that I have on my needles. In the last video, I had 26. 26. Now it's 42. That's a lot more. But I mean, the good thing is that I only have 1 project left from the last video that I did 6 years ago. And everything else has been finished or frocked since then. So I feel kind of good about this. And I know that I will eventually finish the things that I showed to you today. It will probably take 10 years, but I don't really mind, you know. I actually quite enjoy those long-term projects. And then one day being just able to tick something off a list. Like I did last year when I finished a blanket exactly 10 years after I cast it on. It's just so satisfying. And I know that if I were a monogamous knitter and had just 2 projects on the go, I would get that satisfaction all the time. But I mean, I still do finish things. So it's not like I only start stuff and never finish anything. So yeah, all in all, I think that's okay. I'm quite happy with the outcome of this. So that's it. WIP shaming 2.0. Like I said, I feel good about all of these, so I'm not bothered. I do want to start a few things, of course, and, you know, up that number of 42, but I'm okay with that too. It doesn't matter. I'm just doing what makes me happy and everything else just falls into place. So I hope you all have a wonderful time. Let me know, are you a monogamous knitter, or do you also start everything and just, you know, finish a decade later? Yeah, that is it. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Next week, I will record a normal podcast again. I will go back to my weekly Monday podcast. But with the new year and everything, I just couldn't make that happen. So next week, we're back on a normal schedule. And like I said, if you're interested in the reaction video to my first WIP shaming, that is up on Patreon as of in 4 minutes. So when this is up, the other one has been up as well. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm now going to spend a lot of time putting all of that back. And I will see you again next week. Bye.